Welcome, Whiskey fam, to Whiskey One, the channel for the novice, the curious, and the connoisseur. Now, we like to review whiskey, scotch, tequila, barrel-aged beers, but today it's all about Sotol, a type of mezcal spirit. So, stick around. All right, all of you ambassadors. So today we are going to be tasting and sharing Hacienda de Chihuahua Sotol. Now this is their Anjeo version, which means that this bottle in particular has been aged for 2 years. But before I dive into that, I need to say a couple of things. Now, I haven't been making any videos lately. I've been kind of focusing more on the Instagram portion of our channel. So if you haven't already, give us a follow. You can catch us there or on Facebook at Whiskey One Channel. Now, we continue to do reviews for whiskey, barrel-aged beers, and different types of agave spirits. That tends to be our focus. And lately, we've been sort of on this American single malt and agave spirit train, if you will. So if you are on Instagram, again, give us a follow. As far as YouTube, now we do plan to drop some more videos, so hit that like button, subscribe, show us some love, because we do have some videos coming to you very shortly. Now, the Sotol. What is Sotol? It's not tequila. It is a type of mezcal. And if you're not really too knowledgeable about mezcal, all you really need to know is different agave spirits is made from all types of different mezcal. Tequila just happens to be made from a blue Weber agave. Now this is actually Sotol, which is it's basically made from a wild type of agave, specifically the northern part of Mexico and that high desert Chihuahuan area. And so this is going to be very unique. And the way I like to look at this is, if I'm kind of torn or on the fence between grabbing a bourbon or grabbing a tequila, this is sort of right in the middle. It's tropical, a little bit smoky, earthy, and wild. So without further ado, let's go ahead and tap into this, shall we? A beautiful bottle, by the way. It's got this nice leather strap for the cap, and I will just tell you right now, a beautiful nose. I'll move this sucker to the side. Now this in particular is not very aggressive. This is not a high proof type of spirit. In fact, it's bottled at 38% ABV. And so not only this expression, but pretty much all of the Hacienda de Chihuahua Sotols have been bottled at 38% that I've come across. And they have a Reposado, a Blanco, and I think I even saw an extra Anejo. I haven't been able to get my hands on that, but if I do, I would plan to compare it against this, just to see like how much better, if at all, it would be against this. So let's go in for a nose, shall we? Oh, man, this has got a very beautiful, tropical, and creamy feel to it. But before I go back to the nose, what I am going to do is give you a little bit of a tip, something that I like to do, and I think that if you're one of those that do plan to take your time with this, right, or any other type of spirit, what I suggest is you grab the glass and let that spirit just coat the inner part of that glass. You know, you just want to be careful not to spill it, of course, but what I like to do is help to aerate it, but not in a very aggressive way. So I like to coat that inner part of the glass, and rather than give it like this real aggressive swirl, I just like to give it a nice little roundabout. Again, just kind of a tip, because if you are kind of agitated a little forcefully, you're going to probably get a lot of punch from that alcohol, right? But this will give it just enough agitation to let it all sort of come out. So let's get back into it. On the nose. So Real caramel heavy. Vanilla beans. Slightly oaky, but what underpins the whole thing is this beautiful tropical feel. What I get is like pineapple, a little bit of coconut. Think of it like a pina colada. Perfect for a pina colada. And it's a little bit nutty, but it's earthy too, and it has a nice little sort of balancing act with smoke, if you will. Man, it's just got all the right things, really. For me, I like them smoky, I like them creamy, and I like them, complex. And this is definitely doing it for me. Now, let's go in for a taste, shall we? All right. Now, if you're wondering why I'm taking so much time for this initial sip, all I'm really doing is just letting this coat the whole palate. From the roof of my mouth, the back of the tongue, the tip, the under part of my tongue. And I'm just letting all the parts of my palate get a good coating. Now, this is a bit viscous. And all I'm really looking for when I taste the spirit, and I'm kind of, examining it, if you will, is looking to see if it's oily. Do we have any tears of the agave? If you're drinking like a bourbon or an American whiskey or a scotch, folks don't refer to them as tears, but they refer to them as legs. Very oily. Now, this is a subject that's a little bit, subjective, but kind of is polarizing, if you will. And what I mean by that is some feel that, being oily or viscous doesn't do a whole lot. It might be just purely in our minds. But what I've noticed throughout my journey tasting different spirits, especially whiskey, is that the more oily, the more character that I find in the glass. It just has a little bit more to it. It doesn't feel as clean or as smooth. I like things to be complex. I like things to kind of take me for a ride. I might find something one day and then come back to it and find something completely different. And I tend to find that in some of the more oily or viscous type of spirits. And in particular, this one does seem pretty oily. It's got some good amount of viscosity. But anyway, back to this. I'm going to take one more sip and I'll go over the taste notes. Man, this is one of those easy sippers. It doesn't have a very bitey or sharp type of finish. But again, everything that I got on the nose, I pretty much got on the palate. It's tropical, creamy, loads and loads of vanilla whipped topping, coconut flakes, caramel. Oh man, it's sweet, creamy. A good amount of brown sugar, when you sort of warm it up and you're getting ready to mix it for cookies, for baking or something like that. And then you just get this nice tropical sensation. You get pineapple, mango, and I do get lemon and lime as well. So it's very tropical, very citrus forward. And then, of course, I get oak. Now this has been aged in particular in French white oak for about 2 years. And I just love what they've done here. Nice, beautiful amount of time that it's been resting and maturing. And I tend to really enjoy, spirits, whether it be whiskey or an agave spirit that's had a little time to mature in, an oak barrel or a French oak barrel. I mean, it really sets itself apart. It's not going to be crisp. It's going to have a lot more body to it. Now, I'm going to go back to what I mentioned about the proof. Again, bottled at 38% ABV. I really don't think that they were meant to have this necessarily as a sipper, if I'm being honest. I think this was really meant to be more of a cocktail type of spirit. Albeit, I'm enjoying the hell out of it just straight or neat. And I think that you guys would too. But this would be very ideal for a cocktail. Now, I did mention pina colada. Like I said, there's a good amount of like coconut that rounds it all together. And this would be very ideal for that. It also has this just subtle amount of smoke to it too. And then a finish of brininess, like a citrus kind of briny minerality to it. And I really like it. Now, before I kind of conclude and give my overall thoughts and impressions, a quick shout out to Terry Cost, who's been a fan of the channel for quite some time. He actually recommended this to me, and honestly, every time I saw it, I just sort of passed because it's not a very high proof type of spirit. But I thought, let me give it a shot and see what it's all about. And I was pleasantly surprised. This is a very tasty spirit, and I do plan to share this with all my friends and family. So again, shout out to Terry. All right, so final thoughts. I think this is just a beautiful thing to appreciate, neat. I think most folks may want to throw it into a cocktail, like I said. But as far as a score for complexity, tastiness, you know, I definitely have to give this like a 4.25 out of a 5. Man, it's just well balanced, and it's a unique type of agave spirit. If you have never heard of a Sotol, give this one a shot. So I'm just really enjoying this, and I'm having a good time trying to experiment with the different types of agave spirits that are out there. And this is just enjoyable. Again, if you've never heard of Sotol, give this a shot. And I plan to try out a different type of Sotol against it. Now, that one's going to be a Texas Desert Door Sotol. And if you haven't heard of it, that's this little ditty right here. It's got a little bit of a higher proof, but it is tasty. I've already tried their other version, which I think is bottled at 40% ABV. A little higher than this, but I'll do kind of a cross-examination of the two, see which one I like the best. So thank you all for joining us here today. We really appreciate the support. Don't forget, hit that like button. And as always, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers.